for the invitation. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Montenotte Hotel. I suppose I have a long association with CIT over the last number of years and doing various presentations. I did do a presentation in one of your lecture halls there last January 12th month. I don't know if any of you were in the room, which was one of those large lecture halls. I can't remember. I think it was to third years at the time. So who am I? So as I say, Cork City by day and West Cork by night. But at the moment, it's more West Cork 6 days a week and maybe Cork City by one day. So I live in Clonakilty. And I suppose I'm just 3 months into my current role as the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Montenotte Hotel. And previous to this, I was 3 years as Group Sales and Marketing Director at Trigon Hotels. Some of you would know Trigon Hotels as the Cork International Hotel, the Cork Airport Hotel, and the Metropole. And previous to that, I was Sales and Marketing Manager at what is now the Clayton Hotel, Cork City. In my time there, it was the Clarion, and 6 months in as Clayton. And before this, I worked in various sales and marketing roles at quality hotels in both Clonakilty and Youghal. And previous to this, I worked in hotels in Dublin, Kenmare, and Sligo. I'm a graduate of DIT, Colborough Street, which is now Technological University Dublin. Very posh and fancy name now, a bit like your own new rebranded MTU, right? Did I get that right, yeah? And where am I from? I'm originally from Longford. You'll know that from my social media platforms. If anyone follows me on social, I'm a dairy farmer's son, so I'm very proud of it. So don't ask me how the hell I got into hotel business or into marketing. I suppose I got into hotels and then I got into marketing. So I kind of fell in, and once I hit the sales and marketing department, I wasn't going to leave it. I didn't want to be working in operational any more than I was. So I suppose the Montenotte Hotel, I suppose you guys will all know the brand. I suppose it's the historical piece that people don't know much about. It's built on the former 18th century residence of the Merchant Prince of Cork. So it dates back to 1846, the building. So it's a hugely historic building. And people, you know, when we think of historic hotels, we think about the Metropole and the Imperial. We don't think about the Montenotte. So it actually is a very historic building. I would say it's a vibrant, multi-award winning, design-led 4-star destination hotel with an eclectic vibe and a strong sense of fun and spectacular, and their unrivaled views of Cork City. It is the best view of the city, without doubt, from the terrace area. Very much, we've been classed as a boutique hotel, but we're very much moving into the whole space of a destination resort hotel with the difference. And the one thing we pride ourselves in, we are pretty much one of Ireland's most Instagrammable hotels. There is an Instagram moment at every corner, I would say, of the property. I just wanted to go through the various different brands we have within the property, so you can see each of our units and have their own brand identity. So you can see there at the middle where the Montenotte, but the residence brand is our self-catering. So we have 107 bedrooms, but we also have 26 1- and 2-bedroom self-catering apartments. So they're very good at the moment because we're obviously closed, but so we're using them for essential workers or people who are relocating to Cork. That works out very well for us. That's our resident brand. Panorama Bistro and Terrace, which is our main restaurant and bar area, but also the terrace area is our Botanicals Terrace. It got a refurb during the lockdown 1.0, and it's an amazing. The views from there are spectacular. We have Bellevue Spa, which is our spa product. We have spa area. We have 6 different treatment rooms, and the product range we have there is Dermavisuals. Now, Dermavisuals, we're the only spa in Ireland to have that particular brand. It is very much a customized skin solution for every skin type. So it's fantastic. It's an Australian product, and we're the only spa, as I said, in Ireland with it. Our other outlets, you know about the Cameo Cinema. Up until now would have been a 52-seater cinema. We're now a 16-seater cinema with social distancing in place of 2 meters. But is a really unique facility. And there recently we did a lot of work with the Cork International Film Festival. And if it hadn't to be totally virtual, you would have had one of the shows from the Cameo. We've the gallery suite, which is our meeting and a banqueting suite, and at the moment can cater up to 28 people with 2 meters social distancing in place. Motion is our health club, so we have an extensive health and wellness facility with a 20-meter pool, fully equipped gym, and we have membership of over 700 people. We also have branding for our Victorian gardens. So our Victorian gardens are very well respected. We have 2 full-time gardeners at the hotel. So this is a whole new area. We're very much a destination hotel in the city. And our last brand that we just put together there in the last 2 or 3 weeks is our gifting brand. Gifting for 2020 is probably the biggest opportunity for our business. So we created its own brand identity. So it's gifting at the Montenotte Hotel. So you can see there on our screens and our branding, like our hashtag is stay unique. So that you can see that. So I just did up this, I suppose, word cloud yesterday as I was preparing for the presentation. And I think they're a really good way of, we'll say, getting people to understand your brand and your brand identity. So these are the words that resonate with me about our brand. It's design, stylish, cool, we're lauded. So we're Instagrammable, respected, friendly, service, our brand, views, Cork, fun. And the brand is fun, to be honest, at times. Profitable, yes, not at the moment, but anyway, we will get back there. Trendy, quirky, digital being an important aspect. Destination, atmospheric, boutique, awards. So these are all words that we feel that resonate with our brand, the Montenotte Hotel. So I suppose my team, I'm I suppose director of sales and marketing. We have a marketing manager who's Susanna Brosnan. She is a part-time role. So that's the other thing about us, is that we do encourage flexi work. So Susanna wanted a role that was 20 hours a week. So we were able to accommodate that when I came on board. Up until then, she was probably deputizing in my absence before I started. We have a digital marketing manager who was a full-time position. Started in March of 2020. Poor girl only had 3 days before the first lockdown, which was a first challenge, but a fantastic addition. Susie comes to us from Tourism Ireland, where she spent 3 years in both Portugal and Denmark with Tourism Ireland. And then Aoife Finn is our events manager. So events would very much come under our sales and marketing remit. The head of room revenue and reservations reports to me too. But I suppose the one thing I want to say is that I know that we talk about marketing and sales. For me, it is very much sales and marketing. They both sit very well, very much together. But the key thing is that everybody within the business is an ambassador for our business. So, you know, like people on the floor, or whether it's in the bar, restaurant, down in motion, behind reception, come to me, come to the team with sales initiatives, with sales leads, but also marketing opportunities. They might say, listen, I heard a brand promoting on the radio, should we be doing that? So very inclusive in that space. I just wanted to give you an idea of, we say, the various market segments that we'll say would have been typical of a 4-star hotel in Cork City up until 9 months ago. The world has changed dramatically, we all know that. And I just want to give you a flavour of, we'll say, what Cork City would have been. So for example, different market segments, we look at, we'll say, corporate, conference and incentive, the leisure market, and tour operator. They're the 4 big market segments that we'd say hotels historically in Cork City would have been accustomed to. So for example, you look at corporate, that would have been international and Irish corporates. So I mentioned there's actually 180 FDI companies in Cork. So they would have been giving huge room nights to the city. So for example, Apple, they have 5 hotels in Cork on their programme. On a normal year, they would have been giving 9,000 room nights to Cork as a destination. So you can see how the impact that. So as we come down, we've none of that now, just to be clear. Conference and incentive. So that's everything like your conference, your meetings. It could be a large conference in CIT, lads, that needs bedrooms of 200 room nights for delegates that are coming internationally. And then events. So for example, your weddings, the room nights that they generate. The leisure market, we're talking about international leisure. So you would have a lot of people coming to Cork for city breaks. They would have been coming from the UK, they would have been coming from the US, they would have been coming from France, Germany. They're the main 4 international markets that Cork would have benefited from. And then obviously the staycation market, and then groups as well. When we say groups, we're talking about leisure groups. We're talking about groups that would have been like a group of girls. It could be Abby and her girlfriends of 6 girls, and they're going off for their break. That's what we're talking about, leisure groups. Tour operator, so they would have been the international tours. So for example, you would have had your Abbey tours, Irish Welcome tours, you know, Trafalgar, all those tour groups, they would have been bringing international guests to Cork, and then individual international travellers coming through travel agents. So they could be coming from, again, Abbey Tours, Irish Welcome, on an individual basis. This year and into 2021, up until we see Q4 2021 is when things will probably come back to some bit of normality, and I mean some bit of normality. Conference incentive pretty much is more or less gone. Tour operators more or less gone. The corporate market is very much Irish only, and you get some international, but only for relocation. And then, so the key market for us and for all of Cork and Ireland really at the moment is the leisure market. We're all in the staycation business. So that's the reasoning that Pure Cork, the brand, is so important for us to be able to be out front and centre. One statistic during July and August this year is that Cork was rated the top destination for staycations in Ireland during 2020. And that it was actually a survey by AIB. AIB were able to calculate those findings through their Visa card and through people their spends on their cards. So they were able to note that Cork was the #1 destination, and it was. To be fair, the Irish community really supported us. I just wanted to give you a slide here on our audiences during 2021. So for example, I know you guys during your marketing, you do a lot on customer personas and all that space. So we took some time out about 4 weeks ago, and we looked at the customer personas that we will be looking at in 2021. These are kind of examples of what our market will look like. You can see there the young couple. They might have an infant who is in a cot. They might not. They're pre-married. They might be post-married, but they're a young couple. You have the group of girls then will be all professionals. You know, probably earning about maybe €40,000 a year. So a group of girls. And then you have the couple who are in their 50s, who have some more leisure time and want a city break. And then you've got the mom and daughter grouping. So these are our 4 key audiences in the staycation market in Ireland for us for 2021. You probably note that we don't have families there. We did get some family business during 2020, but it's not our market. We're not built for the family market, and it's a market that we're not going to be actively promoting to. But these are our 4 different personas that we'll be targeting in 2021. I just wanted to give you a very quick look at, we'd say, how the website business has performed. So historically in hotels, you would have third parties driving your room nights, the booking.coms of this world, the Expedias. This year is different. I put in the customer service charter there from Fáilte Ireland because what happened this year was we seen people who were booking a staycation wanted the confidence knowing that there was going to be protocols in place with regard to COVID-19. This meant that we had excellent uptake on our own website business. So what happened was third parties weren't able to provide that level of confidence for the punter. So I'll just give you an example there. When we actually look at 2020 versus 2019 for our own website business, we're up across the board. And that is taking into account that we were closed in total for 3.5 months. So our bookings are up plus 10%, room nights are up 9%, our revenue is up 14% year on year. And that's from the 1st of January to the 1st of October, 15th of October, year on year. Our website users are up 23%. New users are up 23%, and sessions on our website is up 20%. So again, that's the traffic to the site is up, which is a huge stat. But that tells a multiple of reasoning. I just wanted to use October as an example as well, as an isolated example. So we closed on the 22nd of October, which meant that we were closed for 10 nights in October. But allowing for the difference even on year and being closed for 10 days, our website sessions are up 29%. Our conversion rate is up 32%. Our bookings are up 75% year on year. Our ABV, which is our average booking value, is up 7%. So that means we're getting a better rate overall for our business, but our revenue was up 84% year on year. So that just tells you that people have migrated to our own website, but it also tells you that the digital campaigns that we're doing and driving people to the site is working. we talk about digital, and I can't take all the credit for this. I can only take some of the credit, lads. So I'm definitely a big shout out to Susie and Susanna in our marketing and digital marketing for the work that went on this year. This year has been a huge success for the hotel. I suppose highly engaged social media platforms across the board, and they're driving really strong results. Just to give you an idea, we have over 42,000 followers on Facebook. We have 14,000 followers on Instagram, and we've seen a 14% growth in the last 3 months. Twitter, we have 3,480 followers, 17% growth in the last 3 months. And on LinkedIn, we have nearly 1,000 followers. It's been an absolute award-winning year. And that's even during a pandemic, which is to be a huge credit. We were the overall digital titan for 2020 at the Cork Digital Marketing Awards with Cork Chamber. And the application we did for Cork Chamber, we actually submitted in the first week that I started to the SOCIs. And we came back with 2 awards at the SOCIs. We got a gold and we got a bronze award, and which were the gold was actually for best Instagram business for an individual business in Ireland, which was a huge result. 2 campaigns that we were very much campaign driven. So prior to opening on the 29th of June, we had our Dream Now, Visit Later campaign. And then in the month of October, we had our Corkation campaign. Because we moved into level 3 restrictions at the 1st of October, we actually planned for that, and we had an amazing Corkation campaign. So the whole idea was targeting Cork as a destination, and the 550,000 people in Cork. So it worked out very well for us for 3 weeks till we closed then on the 20th. Last page, lads, so you'll be glad to know. I just want to give some marketing tips and top tips that I feel have been especially important this year, which I think is marketing has never been more important. More than ever, content is king. You cannot focus enough on content, blog content, whatever it is. Get a specialist within your business to focus on content. Everybody can put a paragraph together on content and amalgamate it then with your digital plans. Keep communicating, even in a pandemic. It was so important to keep communicating. One thing when I was at Trigon Hotels that we did exceptionally well was that whole message of keep communicating. And I have to give a shout out to the digital marketing manager at Trigon, who's Megan Party, who created our hotel at home hubs during the lockdown for both the Metropole and the Cork International. They were fantastic, I have to say. And we all contributed to them in a huge way. Collaborate. Collaboration has never been more important. There's many forms. There's business to business collaborations. There's the whole influencer collaboration, but also your own competition. So for example, Cork is a fantastic destination for all the hotels working together. I'm on a call every Friday morning with the Irish Hotels Federation in Pure Cork. I'm on the sub-marketing group for that. And there's myself, the marketing director for Photo Collection, and also Castlemartyr, and also Maldron Hotels. We're all working together to work on 2021 for Cork to get Destination Cork out there front and centre. So collaboration is really a key. Know what sells and know your audience. So make sure your online platform is performing well, but know who your audience is and be clear about your customer personas. Adapt your messaging across the various social media channels to the right audience. We obviously know that certain messages you put on Twitter that you wouldn't put on Facebook, but just knowing that is really important. I suppose when working on campaigns, make sure you have a healthy balance between offline and digital marketing when budget allows. So obviously a lot of our spend, and we're increasing our spend by about 20% next year in digital, but make sure that you have a healthy balance between both offline and online. And then build your personal brand along with the brands that you sell. So people do buy from people. That's the sales bit coming in, but for you still have to market your personal brand, for people to buy from you as well. So that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to presentation. There's all my contact details. I put them up at the end. I'll do the stop share now, and I'll hand back to you, Harry.
Thank you so much for doing that presentation. That was really good. Really appreciate that.
No problem.
So I think now we'll fire into the Q&A. I have some questions already prepared, but if anyone else has any questions, feel free to chime in and turn on your mic and ask away. So at this time, you got a lot of students trying to brand themselves on LinkedIn and Twitter specifically. Would you have any tips for them if they're just starting off on those platforms and they want to stand out to potential employers?
What I've noticed in the last 2 to 3 years, and I suppose when when I was at Trig, and I actually feel very sorry for the students this year, guys. So I have to say that, because it's very difficult to get, I'm sure, that internship this year above all years, because that whole space of everybody in our business especially has been reducing hours. Now, some people have been, now we're very lucky in our team that we haven't reduced any of our teams, so that's really important, but multiple hotels and businesses in hospitality have. But what I've noticed in the last 2 years, and it's around the time that I had Rebecca Jennings first, and then we had James join us in Trigon, was that I did notice CIT put huge effort into that whole area of getting that internship for those 15 weeks in your year 3, which I think is phenomenal, to be honest, lads. And I think it's, and I have to say huge credit to CIT and to Michelle and all the team there, the effort they put in. And I have to say it was a brilliant thing for us to do when I worked at Trigon, and to have that support. It also, the one thing I would say is that I'm in my early 40s, right? So what I would say is, what you guys can bring to the table, I don't know everything in digital, because everything is changing rapidly. Do you know what I mean? And that whole, I remember James is probably going to laugh now, but James has an interview with me. He was telling me about the Christmas logs he was selling, or just Christmas flower basket, window baskets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that actually sold. He got the job because of that, because he was already innovative. He was already thinking outside the box. So that's the one thing I would say, is that you guys have something more to give than someone like me, who is, you know what I mean, wants to learn all the time, but like learning takes time, and you have a full-time position as well. So that's the one thing I would say is, I think their profiles on LinkedIn are really important, but I wouldn't forget other social media channels as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think what I would say is that, especially, I mean, people don't like Twitter, and your age don't like it, right? But the one thing is, it is very much B2B, you know what I mean? And you can see that, and getting engaged in conversations through Twitter, we'd say, with businesses is really, really important, and people see that activity, especially in Cork. I would say that Cork is very social media friendly as a destination.
Yeah, and I suppose, kind of linking to your answer there a bit, what would be the one thing that you would look for on a CV? Like you said there about James, it was the things that he was selling outside of college. Would it be that thing that people are doing outside of college that you like to see on a CV?
Well, you see, not everybody has the resources, or they mightn't have the time, to be honest, to have. I do think it's good. I mean, even when I was in college myself, I always had a part-time job. I think it's really important. Like, not everybody's going to have that opportunity now, because there's obviously less jobs. But it is great to see somebody who is doing their study, who are working their way through college, but obviously funding it. And I think it's very important to see that, you know what I mean, there's a work ethos there. One thing as well is that I like someone coming to me to know they've already researched the brand. I think that's really important. You know, do your research in advance. Know the people. So research will say, you might even want to make a connection with them, but you can clearly see that Brian Bowler is the general manager of the hotel, or that he's also the chair of the Irish Hospitality Institute. Do you know what I mean? So another role in my world is, I'm the chair of the Cork City Centre Forum, and that's an amalgamation of businesses in Cork City that comes under the auspices of Cork City Council and Cork Chamber. So I chair that group every month. But it's good for people. People have reached out to me because they can see I'm chair of the Cork City Centre Forum. Like, the media would reach out to me for me to comment on things because of that. So I think that's really important, to know the people and know the business that you're doing an interview for. I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And would you have any words of wisdom off the top of your head for, obviously you got a lot of marketing students here, so for people looking to get into the marketing industry?
Look, I think the one thing about it, it's ever changing. That's the thing, is that of all things, I think more than ever, marketing is, people are seeing the value of marketing, and especially now, the online piece is huge. So I would say, if you have any experience in that whole online piece, bringing a piece, helping someone, because it actually could be a case of that you reach out to a company to say, listen, I'm looking for some voluntary experience. You know what I mean? Looking for experience that maybe on a voluntary basis. I'm just looking to work maybe a Friday afternoon. You know what I mean? And because I think there's a lot of businesses out there now that did pivot during, we'd say, the pandemic, because they had to go online, but they should have been online before that. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think you guys can give that experience of, you know what I mean, like helping businesses go online. Do you know what I mean? Because I think there's that whole area, it's like a fear factor. And I think the more that people can get help on from you guys, because you're learning the information, but also you're in that world where everything is digital. You know what I mean? You buy everything online. Do you know what I mean? So you see three steps. You know, somebody gets, you know what I mean? Oh, Joe Blogs can create a website for me. They'll have a booking engine on it, but it's taking 10 steps. You're like going, well, no, that won't work because the customer only has, you know, they're thinking in the Apple world where it's 2 steps. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important to come, as I say, have your research done, but be able to bring something to the table. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question, Harry. Does
No,
it?
definitely, yeah, it does, yeah. And I suppose in your, last few years, what has been your most successful campaign that you've maybe had a hand in, and what made that so successful?
That's such a good question. Yeah, there's been so many things we've been involved in. It's funny. I suppose because my role is, we say, marketing and sales. So a lot of it would be like a campaign can work, right? But you have to think about, is it a brand campaign or is it a campaign to drive business? So there's a real distinction there between the two. And I think there has to be a healthy balance between both. And I think recently, we got the mix right when we did our Corkation campaign. Very small market. Now we are lucky in Cork that we have 550,000 people on our, you know what I mean, in our county. We have the second largest population in Ireland and also the biggest landmass. That's a huge thing. That Corkation campaign was hugely successful. Like, we filled 3 weekends in October because of it, when, you know what I mean, other hotels were quiet, but we had got the message right. So that was good. Another event I hosted in the Metropole last year was the Cork Chambers 200th anniversary. So we hosted their founders dinner for 200 years. So if you see my social media feed there a couple of weeks ago, even though I'm gone from that brand, but it was probably my proudest moment in 3 years working with the company, that we were able to put on this like high-end, and I mean super high-end 5-star dinner for 170 people in a 200-year-old building. Do you know what I mean? And we had the cream of Cork business at that event. So I coordinated on behalf of, because Trigon Hotel sponsored the event. So I was the coordinator of the entire event from start to finish. So I did both, worked with Cork Chamber on the branding, but also the whole operation. And I sat at the event as well. So that was probably my most proudest business moment in the last 3 years, to be honest. But also seeing the brands grow, to be honest, and James would know this, like they were small hotel brands, and we did help them grow over the last 3 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, if the COVID didn't turn up then.
Yeah. And we had a question thrown in from our Instagram page, and it is, growing up, was this the career that you wished to pursue?
I would say absolutely not. So growing up, the one thing I did want was not to be working in a farm. That's the one thing, because as I mentioned, although I love going back there now, and please God, I will get back there at some stage, but it was not for me. And I mean, I went to college. I went to Dublin when I was 17. Back then, you were going to college younger, lads, because we didn't have transition years. I didn't do transition year. So I just couldn't wait. I still remember the day that I got in the car to go to the bus, to be dropped to the bus to go to Dublin, because I just couldn't wait to get away. No, I had 2 things in my mind. I said I'd do hotel management or accountancy. They were the 2 things they were the 2, so I did go down the hotel management route, which was hotel management and business studies. But very early on, I got a chance when I was working in Sligo just to help the sales manager there on quotations and representing them at exhibitions. So I got an absolute flavour for it then. And so then pretty much the minute I got, the next thing is a friend of mine who I worked with in Dublin was moving to Clonakilty. And he rang me up one night while I was in Sligo and said, I have a job for someone to do some duty management, but also to do some sales. And I said, where's Clonakilty? Because genuinely I didn't know where it was. And 6 weeks later, I'd moved down. I didn't care, because it was an opportunity. And that's that's, to be honest, that's 20 years ago now, lads. So, and I haven't left since. So, you know what I mean? It's been the right move. But hospitality has been great in that sense. Now, my wife did say to me recently, this is my last hospitality job. She wants me out of hospitality after this pandemic. So, but yeah, no, I do love it, to be honest. And what I like about it most is that you have a service to sell. Do you know what I mean? You have something very tangible. And it's also kind of it can be a luxury, you know, but like it's not quite essential, you know. But we do need that break. So yeah.
Yeah. How come your wife wants you out of the hospitality sector?
Well, I think it's the whole thing of, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we're after going through the last 9 months and 2-day week, 3-day week, 4-day week, kind of, you know what I mean? And hotels closed and this whole, you know, it's probably relatable to this year only. She does like her hotel breaks, so to be fair. But no, she's an accountant, to be honest, so it's a little bit different, you know?
Yeah. I think that's all the questions that I had. If anyone else has any questions and you don't want to turn on your camera or whatever, you can just throw it into the chat and we'll get to it. But if not, wait a few minutes to see if any come up. But look, thanks a million for the presentation. It was really good. And if it's okay with you, we've recorded it and we'll put it on YouTube maybe before the end of the week, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So does anyone else have any questions? No, I don't think so.